When a sitcom dares to step beyond its laughs and into the raw fabric of human connection, magic happens. Young Sheldon did just that in its highest-rated episode, a piece of television that transcended comedy to become something truly unforgettable. Introduction. The moment that redefined the series. For a show that began as a lighthearted spin-off of The Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon has always walked a tightrope. It juggles the comedic absurdity of a boy genius navigating the world of East Texas with the emotional gravity of family, faith, and the inevitability of growing up. And yet, it was in Season 7, Episode 14, Funeral, the highest-rated episode of the series, that the show shed its sitcom skin and revealed a narrative heart as powerful and poignant as any dramatic series on television. This episode wasn't just good for a sitcom. It was great television, period. A moment when everything, the writing, performances, direction, and legacy, clicked into place to deliver a gut-punching, beautifully crafted story. The death heard around East Texas. The episode centers around the death of George Cooper Sr., Sheldon's father, a moment fans knew was coming from the beginning. The specter of George's eventual death had loomed since Sheldon first mentioned it in The Big Bang Theory. For seasons, the writers teased it, hinted at it, and danced around the edges. But no one could have prepared for how deftly and heartbreakingly young Sheldon would handle it. Rather than dramatize George's death with a melodramatic hospital scene or a long-winded goodbye, the show chooses subtlety. He's gone before the episode begins. One morning, life changes. The family is left to pick up the pieces. That narrative choice was genius. Death, in reality, often doesn't give us a dramatic heads-up. It comes quietly, without warning. The show leaned into that truth. There was no need for spectacle, just the rawness of grief, and the aftermath of a life forever altered. Emotion over exposition. What made Funeral exceptional wasn't just the event itself, but how the show processed it. We saw the ripple effect in every member of the Cooper family. Mary's spiritual crisis, Georgie's sudden maturity, Missy's silent devastation, and most powerfully, Sheldon's emotional implosion masked in logic. Ian Armitage, playing Sheldon, delivered his finest performance of the series. Until this point, Sheldon had always been the emotionally detached observer. But in this episode, his armor cracks. Watching him try to calculate grief, to quantify loss, it's both heartbreaking and entirely in character. And when he fails, when his brain can't provide the answers, that's when we see the young boy behind the genius. The moment Sheldon sits alone in his father's chair, hugging a pillow as if it might bring him back, that's not just good acting. That's television alchemy. No words, just silence, and it says everything. Bridging the canon. What elevated this episode even further was its masterful bridge to The Big Bang Theory. For years, audiences have joked about the inconsistencies between the two shows. But here, they didn't clash, they harmonized. A scene intercutting young Sheldon's grief with adult Sheldon's voiceover narration, by Jim Parsons, brought a lump to every longtime fan's throat. But the true masterstroke, a cameo. Adult Sheldon, now married to Amy Farrah Fowler, reflects on his father's funeral. Amy reminds him that, despite the pain, he built a life filled with love, friendship, and purpose, something his father would be proud of. In that moment, the two Sheldons, young and old, unite. A full-circle transformation not only for the character but for the franchise itself. A study in restraint. What sets this episode apart from typical sitcom fare is its restraint. There are jokes, yes, but they're gentle. Melancholy hovers in every frame. Even the colors are muted. The camera lingers a little longer. The musical score is softer, more elegiac. It's an episode that breathes. The direction doesn't rush. It allows silence to settle, to speak. The writers trust the audience to feel, rather than be told how to feel. That kind of storytelling confidence is rare, especially in a genre that so often leans on punchlines and tropes. Why this is the real masterpiece. Every long-running show has that episode. The one that defines it. Breaking Bad had Ozymandias. The West Wing had Two Cathedrals. And young Sheldon now has Funeral. This episode is the show's emotional apex. Its narrative purpose. It reframes everything we've seen before through the lens of inevitability, and gives new weight to Sheldon's eccentricities, his emotional distance, and his constant need for order. It's also a celebration of George Sr., a character too often maligned by Big Bang Theory fans as a flawed father. Young Sheldon gave him humanity, and in death, dignity. For viewers who grew up with The Big Bang Theory, this episode offered closure. For new fans, it offered a lesson in storytelling. And for everyone, it showed the power of a sitcom that dares to be more. Legacy in a frame. The final shot of the episode says it all. The Cooper family, standing outside the church after the funeral. No dialogue. Just faces. Sheldon glances up at the sky, and for a fleeting moment, you can almost see a child trying to understand the universe, not through equations, but through absence. It's a still frame that lingers, not just because of its emotional weight, but because of what it symbolizes. A family reshaped, a boy forced to grow up too fast, and a show that proved it was always more than a spin-off. Conclusion. The moment young Sheldon became great in Funeral, young Sheldon pulled off what few shows ever manage. It grew up. It took the risk of sincerity in a world that often rewards sarcasm. It slowed down in a medium that favors speed. It told the truth when it could have chased ratings. And in doing so, it crafted not just its best episode, but its masterpiece. Let me know if you'd like a version with quotes or if you're targeting a publication or blog, and I can adapt it further.